Hi, my name is Jeff Manco. I'm out of the Cleveland, Ohio market, and it's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for this evening for our Ascend Global Services Wednesday evening webinar. His name is Mr. Kevin Gantos. He's the president of Ascend Global Services. Outside of network marketing, Kevin has built many traditional businesses with multi-millions of dollars in sales. And inside of network marketing, Kevin has built organizations of tens of thousands of people all across the country and all across the world. So there's no better person to give us this training. Without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Kevin Gantos.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for bringing me on. Great to have you on tonight's webinar. Excited about the information I'm going to share. And as I'd like to say, typically, hopefully, Ohio's treating you great. Can't wait to be out there June 22nd. I know that's the target date. I know San Diego's got March 30th on the books. I know we're looking to plan Rhode Island, Florida, and, of course, I think Florida's July 17th. I know we're looking to do a national event over in Vegas. Can't wait to see you there. It's going to be good. I know we've got something going on in Northern California as well, Texas, and, as I said, Southern California. So can't wait. You've done a great job. And for guests that are on tonight, Mr. Jeff Manco and I known each other literally for 20-some years. We met through a mutual friend, which is Mr. Roscoe Thompson, who's actually the director of training here. And more importantly than that, just loaded with integrity. And again, great organization that Jeff has built. He's got some great leaders, led to Chuck Flowers, and led to Ted Smith. He's actually the first team leader in the company, which is pretty amazing. But Jeff, thanks for bringing me on. Great job. And I know you have an incredible organization. And thanks for hosting the two first events for the company since our launch of January of last year. So job well done, my friend. And can't wait to see you walk on the stage as well when we do the big event in Vegas. And thank you for bringing me on. Well, family, again, and I refer to everybody as family because, in fact, that's what we're building here in AGS. If you know who AGS is, the company, again, launched January of last year. We've grown 400% since then. We're actually having a record month this month, both in production and enrollments. And I'll tell you, it just doesn't get any better. I get back to the person who invited you onto this webinar. If you don't know what AGS is, there's a video on the website. Feel free to look at that. Gives you a complete overview in about a half hour. But tonight really isn't about that as much as it is about the 90-day Blitz and why that's so relevant. So I'm going to make the assumption that we have people that are already in the business on tonight's training. And before I go into that, I want to share a little bit of a story because I came to this industry back in December 18th, 1995. And why that's relevant, I was building traditional businesses. I had a waste hauling company, construction company, a leasing company, real estate, and all the different things like a lot of us do as serial entrepreneurs. But something that I saw in this industry that made me so excited was this thing called residual income. And so the allure of the residual income back in the day, the company I was affiliated with that brought me to the dance, actually a dear friend of mine who's actually owned a printing company. And let me explain why that's important, because that's how this business is built. And so I looked at the information. They were marketing long distance back in the day. Today it's kind of a joke, but back then it was very, very relevant. We could show people how to save money on long distance. And for everybody that paid their bill every month, you got paid a percentage. So there were pin levels in that company where you could build an organization, get paid out through 7 levels, and in doing so, make at least, the top money earners on the average were making a little over $33,000 a month. And residually, that was the point. It was residual. It wasn't that it could be generated through traditional business, but if I walked away from my traditional business, the business, if not built or was in what I call bootstrapping stage or infant stage, it can't run without the initial owner in the very beginning. In time it does when you have a layer of management, right? So that's where some of the companies were. So that's what I was used to. But when I came into direct sales and the network marketing industry, I realized I could build a team and they would build independent of my involvement in time once it gets big enough. It doesn't happen overnight. And in doing so, be able to have income that you can walk away from and get paid every month, every month, every month, every month, every month. And so that was life-changing for me and for a lot of people. I mean, this industry creates more millionaires than the other industry. As a matter of fact, the average, literally the women in the industry, over 85% of the women in the world that make $100,000 or more do it through direct sales, just to put that in perspective, okay? It doesn't matter what ethnicity, how deep your checkbook is, what your education is. It's totally a level playing field. And so that was another thing that attracted me as well, because we could help thousands of people. But none of that means anything if you don't know how to build an organization. So in the very beginning, like a lot of us, and in the very beginning, I thought, well, this is a no-brainer. I can enroll a couple of people. I can go all the way to the top and become, this pin level, no problem. And I thought, that would happen overnight. And of course, you always want to manage your expectations, because the minute you get into a place of discouragement, you start wavering, and you might have bounced out a little bit prematurely on something that could change your life forever. As a matter of fact, Jeff, who brought me on, prime example on a minimal scale, he was sharing with me the fact that, he works at the Ford plant, has been for many years, but because he had a home-based business, he was able to save get back $3,700 back from the IRS in his tax refund, which for him, obviously, he can do a lot of things with that. And so that's another thing that's awesome. But again, none of that works if you don't stay the course, right? So as I came to the industry, right, I came in and I had some great friends and they came on board, and I got to the first few pin levels, right? And I kind of stalled there, right? And I'm thinking, well, this would be a no-brainer to get to that pin level back in the day. They called it RVP back in the day. And I said, okay, fine. I could hit this pin level, and then I got to that pin level right before RVP, and then I went into a stall for a while. And, I was top producer, had incredible production, learned a lot of fundamental principles through trial and error, not actually through there's no such thing as training decks like there are today. There were cassettes that you can listen to, but it's totally different today. But back then really came down to, okay, I got to figure out how this thing works. I know there's plenty of people hitting those top pin levels, making that income. What are they doing that's so different than what I was doing? So I came to the dance, and I remember one of the first conversations I had when I was the top producer in that prior company. My upline didn't even know who I was, because I came in as a business, and the business doesn't say what my name is. It just said the business name, right? And I'm out there cranking and producing it, and I had no idea it was in a production club. And, I was bringing on, at that time, with the momentum I had, it was a lot, but for me it was in the beginning, about anywhere from 85 to 100 people were onboarding to my business back in the day. And I got a call from the president of the company, reached out to me and said, hey, whatever you're doing in Cleveland, because that's where I lived at the time, bottom line is keep doing it. And he goes, so who's your upline? I said, I have no idea who my upline. I didn't even know what an upline meant, to be honest with you. And so they said, well, we're looking to do a tour. We'd like to come out to Cleveland. As a matter of fact, a friend, one of our top producers lives in Pennsylvania. He'd like to come out and do an event. I says, well, okay, that's fine. And he goes, what pin level are you? And at the time I said, well, I'm at this pin level. And he goes, you're kidding me. You're not at this pin level? And I said, no. He goes, why not? I said, because I'm not worried about me hitting the pin level. I want my team to hit the pin level. And he said to me, very, very important statement. And that was, look, if you don't hit that pin level, your team thinks they can't hit the pin level. And so it's important for you to do that. Can you get that done in the next couple of weeks? And I said, based on that statement, absolutely. If it's going to help my team, I definitely want to do it. Well, what that created was a sense of urgency. And I did a training last week called The Power of What, and it's very simplistic, because most people, maybe yourself, are doing this business on top of church, family, and job. So I tell everybody, look, if you're serious about the business, but you got to do it on top of church, family, and job, which means very, very part-time, your goal might be to at least enroll one new person a month, right, for the next 12 months, but be important to teach your team to do the same. Don't enable your team by giving them people to hit pin levels. Teach them how to enroll somebody, and then they're going to learn how to teach someone. And when it starts duplicating out, you'll have what I call redundancy of leadership, and you minimally want at least 3 key leaders in 3 separate lines based on our compensation plan for the top 4 pin levels. But the point I'm making is this, is that one person a month enrolling in your business for the next 12 months will produce an organization of over 4,000 people. Well, when push came to shove, and I wanted to hit that top pin level, I realized I couldn't wait 12 months, right? And, I knew I needed to get in the 6-figure income bracket and in this industry. And all I did was I took 12 months and condensed it into 12 weeks. And the inertia from that, what I'm going to share with you right here today, is a game changer, because anything I'm sharing with you isn't theory. It's not an experiment. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine, he's actually one of the top money earners in the whole industry worldwide, right? also did this method through someone you might have known, Eric Worre. His name was Art Napolitano with the prior company we're with. He's still with that company. The point I'm making, this guy had to make it work, just like I had to make it work. And maybe you're that person listening to tonight's webinar that has to make this thing work. And I'm telling you, taking 12 months, teach your team the 12 months, right? But your goal and objective, if it's necessary for you to get to replacement income, because you can't make this something that's not. It takes time to build a business like this. But I will tell you, doing a 90-day blitz will change your business. I didn't only do this once. I've done it 3 times, and each time it catapulted me to the top pin level in about less than 90 days, okay? So here we go. So 90-day blitz, of course, we always want to know what's the definition of a blitz. Well, here you have it. A sudden, think about it, energetic and concerted effort, typically on a specific task, meaning you have the end in mind. That is so important, to have the end in mind. You might be a leader on tonight's webinar or listening to this webinar and go, okay, it's going to be up to you as a leader to cast the vision. The first place start is your goals, right? Your goals are very important. You might have something in your mind. I want to be a diamond in AGS. Okay, that's great that you have that attitude and mentality, but if you don't have a timeline attached to that, it's just a dream, right? You want to make sure it's a goal. There's nothing better to do a goal than to see it, to hear it, and write it down. So be specific and write them down. You want to say to yourself, and here's why most people don't write down a goal. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of not hitting that timeline and feeling discouraged like they failed. Look, if you don't put it down, you're not going anywhere, right? And so it's like a ship without a rudder trying to get out of a harbor. It's not going to work. So you got to ask yourself the question, what would it mean to your team? Think about this. It's not about you. It's about them. To see you at a new pin level. Maybe you're on this and you're a team leader, right? And you're feeling good, and rightly so, because you did what most people won't do, right? But the bottom line is your next step in our opportunity is executive team leader. So team leader here is you enroll 2 people in your first 30 days, make a $100 bonus being a part of our 90-day bonus program, right? Maintain that pin level for 2 calendar months and get a $100 bonus. Plus you're getting residuals on the auto ships every month. Look, our enrollment right now is $49.95 or $59.95 and $69.95. You can actually own your own CBD online or travel online home-based business. You heard me right. No gotchas there. And what's so unique about our opportunity is that if you enroll in our gold package, which is the $59.95, that's our CBD oil. Our line, our brand is actually True Hemp, right? You actually get a $90 bottle for literally $60 shipped out to you when you enroll. You've already got value from the day you start. Plus, you got a business. Plus, you can build an organization. Plus, you have all the reporting and the tracking and everything you need. You can come in as a silver and take advantage of our Moringa product and, of course, our lower-end travel package. Or you can go all the way, and I'm here all about travel, and go to our platinum package. And trust me, that travel package at Travel 100, I'll share a story that's worth sharing so you understand the value of that as well. My wife and I, we wanted to get away for 7 days and 6 nights, and we were looking around, but we didn't want to fly anywhere. So we saw some areas where we could drive for about 8 hours, and there was a Mayan Palace Resort in Puerto Penasco, Mexico, just south of Arizona. And we looked online. Retail is like $4,000. Best price we could find was around a couple thousand. And when I went back to our engine, so you understand what we have in there in that package, because the weeks change in pricing, but for that week, that same 7 days and 6 nights was $198, not for one night, but for all 7 days and 6 nights, not in a hotel room, but in a condo suite with a living room and a dining room and a master bedroom, master bath, with a balcony, right on the water, multiple pools, multiple restaurants, a beautiful facility. So why is all that key? Because the objective is our product mix is important, but you want to hit that first pin level and 2 people. You say, well, the next pin level is I want to help my 2 people get 2 people. In doing so, you're going to get promoted to executive team leader for another $200. Now, here's what's key about this. Every time you hit a pin level, you inspire your team to hit a pin level. When you don't hit a pin level, they're wondering if you can't do it, they can't do it. And so it's very, very important that you lead by example. I never ask my team to do something that I don't already do myself, and any key leader will tell you that, right? So if your goal here was to say, look, I want to at least get to a top pin level where maybe if you're in a different part of the country, maybe the Midwest or whatever, you might be able to get away by hitting what we call silver ambassador, where you need a team of about a few hundred people, right? That gives you a lifestyle bonus of $1,000. You know, you're making about anywhere from $3 to $6 a commission value per representative. So you're going to make about anywhere, probably around from 30 to 60,000 based on the volume in your group, right? You say, well, you know, I can't do that. So you can actually pick the pin level you want to go for to write down your goal and say, look, I need to be a gold ambassador by the end of this year because, you know, I don't like where I'm at, whatever it is you're doing. And maybe that's your goal. Maybe say, look, I got to get there in the next 3 to 6 months. Well, this is where this will be relevant, because literally you got to realize when you start this business, right, getting two in the first 4 levels is fine. But if you add one more person, it's a game changer, because the top 4 pin levels require 3 lines of business. So you want to make sure that you help your 3 to get their 3 and so on, and grow out your team. And it'll grow out exponentially 7 levels out in a perfect world, about 3,000 people, and produce about 35,000. Literally, your level filled out with 3 getting 3 will be at least 35,000, because you have your lifestyle bonuses attached to that as well. Okay? So here's the key. What would it feel like to have your team go from 100 to 1,000 people? That's a 10 times jump. 1,000 people here, right, is gold. Is a gold ambassador. Most people in the United States and pretty much anywhere else in the world can do this business full time. Where can you go, put together a strategy, and know that if you put together the plan or write down your goals and be specific to say, I need to get this done in such and such a time, right? And maybe you can't take a year to do that, then you've got to give some focus here, all right? This is not for the faint-hearted, okay? This is really about people that say, look, I want to at least learn this principle if need be, and I need, obviously, a plan B that needs to turn into a plan A. At least I have the knowledge, right? Some of you are on here, you know, obviously you're doing this part-time, as I said earlier. You want to do the power of one person a month for the next 12 months, right? So here's the goal. What would it mean to you to have cash flow? What if you did this, right, and at least implemented this and realized that, oh my gosh, this cash flow is allowing me to pay off the debt? Well, here's the secret sauce to the 90-day Blitz. The most important part is the pre-launch. The pre-launch is before you actually do anything physically in the actual system. This part right here is everything. You'll get more mileage out of the pre-launch than anything else. It's kind of like building to the wedding. You know, some of you guys that are married or women that are married, right? You do all this work to get to the wedding, right? And then boom, you have the day. So that's what this is like, right? You want to build to that event. So example, you want to start talking to people. Example, we're going to use this example. January 1st to March 1st, it's a 60-day pre-launch. So what does that mean? It means you're having conversation. You haven't even actually enrolled per se. You might have positioned yourself, but you have to actually enrolled everybody in your group yet. What do I mean enrolling? Enrolling them in the vision. Casting a vision and enrolling as many people as possible, right? So your goal is to recruit 20 to 30 people personally in your vision about what you're going to do. You might say, look, my goal is in 2 years is to be a diamond. Well, diamond here is a game changer. You're making at least $500,000 to $1 million a year minimally in that space. And you say, look, in 2 years, I'm going to do that. I'm going to build an organization of 10,000 people, but I want to know who my key people are, my 10 diamonds are, right? And so you start casting that vision, and you got to be serious about this, right? So your goal is to recruit 20 to 30 people personally. So now they're on board, right? And the power of the pre-launch is to build your inner circle. So you're having conversations. This is like, let's talk in a few days. This is about now. Everything's about now. Nothing's about later. It's about creating inertia and excitement and enthusiasm. And everybody getting caught up in the vision. How do they get caught up in the vision? Because they have a clear path to the money. They can see themselves being freed from the doldrums of where they're at or the life of mediocrity that they're living in, you know? It's up. Everybody's different. So whatever that level is, very, very relevant, okay? So you want to get 20 to 30 people and have them personally enroll 10 people each. That's the marching orders. In other words, you don't launch until that's in place. You want to have everything lined up, everybody ready to enroll. And with the price point, the 50, 60, or 70, a no-brainer. Trust me on that, especially with technology today. and the ability to do that. You have more ability today to do a pre-launch than ever before. Before it was drive around, fly around, have the meetings, all of that. Not that still should be a part of it. Trust me, there's nothing better than seeing one face-to-face, belly button to belly button, talking about what needs to be done. So you want to get your 20 and 30 people and have them personally enroll 10 each. What is that? That's 200 to 300 people, family. Now you're coming to the launch with a team of 200 to 300 people. This is how I got to top pin levels in less than 90 days, even the leaders. A prior company, I know Maui got it done in less than that. I think it was 87 days. Roscoe did it as well, got there in about 4 months. I mean, top pin levels, diamond positions, okay? So you want to make sure you take heed to this. Again, very, very relevant. This is the most important part I'm telling you, is putting together the game plan, as you saw on the prior slide. Write down your goals, be specific, and make sure you got your core group involved, the inner circle involved in this, okay? And then it comes time for the launch. Now you got 200 to 300 people, right? You're driving the team of 200, 300 people for the next 90 days. 90 days is, I'm telling you, it's a key number. You want to do home meetings, one-on-ones. What's a home meeting? It's really, I remember when I launched my finance company back in February 1st of 2003. We did literally, in the first 3 years, did over $650 million in gross sales based on this methodology. I'm telling you, I did meetings in restaurants. I did one-on-one meetings. And then the one-on-one meetings, the people that are at the one-on-one meetings, so I got someone I want you to talk to, and I couldn't be everywhere. I said, well, look, I'm going to be at such and such a place, have them meet me over there, right? So they were at the home meetings. Then I did a launch literally out of my family room in my home, talking about me launching a business, right, because I didn't have the office yet. Webinars didn't exist back then like they do today. There were conference calls, but not webinars. Matter of fact, the reality here is a webinar is a great resource. You're listening to one right now. So what you do is you want to meet people face to face, right? You might start with social media. Some people don't want to reach their family and friends. It's fine. We got builders here that have onboarded 50 to 60 people and didn't know them prior to the social media. They started with the social media to make the introduction, to start the relationship, and of course it became face to face. Because at the end of the day, it's all about relationships, real relationships. Think about it. Jeff and I have known each other for many, many years, right? That doesn't happen by accident. Like any relationship, you got to sow into it. You got to feed it. If you don't sow into it, it starves and diminishes, and the relationship is gone. So this isn't about just recruiting a bunch of bodies of people that you're not looking to run long term with, right? But here's the part. So you're using all of that to cast a vision, to get condensed time frames to make it all work. Then the big event is Clue that keeps everyone focused. Everybody knows there's a target date. So right now I'm monitoring the leaders here, right? I'm monitoring who's a hit team leader, executive team leader, regional director. I'm looking at the markets, where the markets are, where we're growing, so I know what cities to kind of hit. And all of that's moving into the national event. So this year for AGS, right, literally is ambassador year. We want ambassadors coming out of here like popcorn, like an ambassador factory, right? But the only way for that to happen is an army of team leaders, executive team leaders, and so on. So focus, here's the acronym for focus. Follow one course until successful. In other words, don't be distracted by other things. Someone come to you, hey, can you do this? Or I got to do college right now. I got to do this. No, you got to be focused for this. This is a 90-day blitz. If your mentality is there, you can do that if you want to on the power one, right? But this is the part where you can get to the promised land a lot faster. And the inertia from this will just explode your business. Trust me on that. Instead of 4,000 people, right, you end up with 40,000 people, right? So all out massive action, no distractions, key. You just pulled your core group into place. You want to get this done. And trust me, you want to get financially sound. The only way to do that is to focus, right? So full-time people, so you can look at this. This is real stories. I remember doing this stuff. Maybe you're someone that says, I can't do this, right? But 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, you heard me right. You're not doing this forever. You're doing this for the 90-day blitz. 90-day blitz. If you're part-time, it's 8 hours a day on top of what you're currently doing. Now, that's if you want this to become your plan A. If not, maybe this isn't what you need to be looking at, right? The bottom line is part-time is 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, not forever, for your 90-day blitz. That's the thing. All out, massive action, no distractions. Focus, follow one course until successful. I had mentors back in the day, back in, like I said, December 18th, 1995, when we finally did get to know each other, because he realized production and said, "Wait a minute, who are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm this company." And he goes, "Oh my gosh, we didn't know who that was," because they lived in Baltimore, I lived in Cleveland at the time. But eventually, we had meetings. Literally, from doing this, we had meetings that were literally thousands of people at the meetings. And so this is so key that they got to the top pin levels in 7 months. How'd you like to get to $30-some thousand a month in 7 months? They did that. That was a record breaker. But because of technology today, we're able to get to these pin levels, upper pin levels, in less time. So your goal is 500 to 1,000 people to the event. Whenever you have 200 to 300 people that are driving to the event, and of course I hear some background noise. If you could kind of mute the phone, that would be great. Go 500 to 1,000 people to the event. Okay, so that's huge, because here's what happens. When that happens and you've got that, from that group, we were able to monitor from people showing at the big event, right, that for every person that showed up the month that we were at that event, that's exactly the production we had. So we knew we wanted 200 to 300 people minimally at that event, right, because we knew that following month we literally have 200 to 300 new people coming into the business the following calendar month. You could almost take that to the bank. That's how accurate the numbers were. Okay, so very important for the event. You got one shot at a first impression. Trust me on that. One shot at a first impression. It's got to be easy to find and a nice location. So, if I'm going to doing these regional events, right, Jeff Manko's a prime example. Make sure he has a nice event over there with Ted and Chuck and Tyrus and Christina, and of course the new regional directors that he broke as well, which was William Shepard, great individual. But they're going to make sure they got a nice event. And when I come out to that first impression is important for the guests that are showing up. You got to create excellent flyers, not something that's been copied time and time again to where it looks like it's third generation, right? You want, again, first class. You can't market $1 million opportunity, a nickel diamond, right? You got one shot at a first impression. Facebook event page. Everything's moving to this. This event is where you're driving all the 200 to 300 people. Remember your core group of 20 to 30 people? They all got to know where they're going. They can't be running blind. They got to know where they're going, and you're the guy that's leading them to the promised land. Bottom line. You want a team of great speakers. So if you need someone there, trust me, your high pin levels. So you might, right now where we're at, you might have a national director that's coming out, or you might have me come out. I'll be more than glad to come to that market. If you could tell me you're going to put together an event like that, and I can monitor that, and I can look at your organization's growth as a prelude to that, I will definitely be there. Okay? So that you've got. Have speakers do short videos, sizzle calls, and webinars like this. We're going to promote the event. So the events we're going to be doing in Florida and Ohio and San Diego and all that, we got people that are getting awards. They're getting the Eagle Awards, the Diamond Awards, right? They're getting pins for ETL and team leader. We're going to have major training there. All that's going to do, we're going to simulcast to other people from that event that can plug into that and see the event. And in doing so, create a lot of excitement and synergy. So the whole purpose of the event is to promote the next event. So the next event after the national, we're already going to have the next event ready. So if I'm in San Diego doing an event for Sabrina because her organization of people exploding over there giving out the awards, guess what I'm talking? I'm talking about Ohio. Now you might say, well, Kevin, you're in San Diego. Why are you talking about Ohio? Because this organization grows exponentially. Prime example, I met with Sabrina May of last year at a coffee shop that's about 20 minutes from my home, right? We had a meeting, and from there, right, got done. Sabrina enrolled. Of course, we did a lot of great things as far as we were launching the True Hemp line and the brand and all of that, but also launched an organization. And one of the people she led me to was a guy by the name of Kevin Fitzgerald. Prime example. Well, Kevin lives in Rhode Island. I've never met Kevin in Rhode Island, yet it's our number 2 market right now. California's number 1, Rhode Island's number 2, Ohio's number 3, right? And a lot of people you don't know. So it's important to promote the next event. So now what happens is, and I'm going from Cleveland, I'll say, okay, we're going to do Florida. Maybe from Florida, we're going to do Rhode Island. And at every event, we're going to do that, and people are going to be recognized, and they're going to say, who do you know? That's what you want to master. You might ask your team. Maybe you don't know anybody in Cleveland, but you can ask your team, who do they know in Cleveland? And now actually be making money in a market while you're sleeping in California, because Ohio wakes up earlier, and be making money while you're sleeping. It's all about promoting the next event. You want to sell tickets at the event. For the next event, you want to repeat this over and over again. As a matter of fact, once you do your first 90-day blitz, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of focus. Trust me on it. It's not a pie-in-the-sky thing. It really does take commitment. But here's the point. Imagine now, and I've done this, now all of a sudden, 90 days later, right, you want to do another 90-day blitz. Again, takes focus and time and all of that. But now you're full-time, you're cash flowing because you hit some of the top pin levels with lifestyle. We have lifestyle bonuses that are $1,000 a month. What would you do with that for your car allowance, right? Or $1,500 a month, or $3,000 a month, or how about $10,000 a month on top of your normal residual income and bonuses? That's what's in place here. So look, this is a great time of the year to do a launch, right? But every day is a good day to do a launch. It just matters how focused you are, how hungry you are, and how committed you are is really what makes this thing work. So, at the end of the day, look, all I can tell for the people who are listening here, this is probably the secret sauce that changed my career in this industry. It took me from some guy that would get to the top 4 pin levels and kind of stall for a while, that brought me to the upper pin levels in companies in a hurry, because I needed to be in a hurry, because in some of the cases, this is all I was doing, and I couldn't transition from one thing to another. I needed this to work. And so by default, again, follow one course until successful, the word focus, the acronym, right? And pull together and cast that vision and write down the goals. And do that. If you're not clear on something, get back to the person you're working with, or reach out, go to the upline, reach out to me. I'll be more than glad to put a strategy in place. I know you got all these incredible national directors that are in place. I know Kevin Fitzgerald, you got Roscoe Thompson, you got Miss Connie Reeves, that's a national director, Sabrina Alt is a national director, Ted Smith is a national director, Kevin Fitzgerald is a national director, and of course our newly promoted national director, Mr. Earl Miller, as well. You want to reach out to them, make them your keynote speakers. And if I missed anybody, my apologies, family. But the bottom line is, look, if you're a guest on tonight, hopefully this makes sense to you. We thank you for the time you've taken to listen to this powerful information. But if you want to go from your plan A to a new plan A, this is the way to do it. But again, it takes focus. Focus, focus, focus. Maybe this is too intense for you. Fine, then default to the power one. Take it from 12 weeks to 12 months. But trust me on this. This will change your life, providing you do it the right way. This does conclude tonight's webinar. Thank you so much for coming on. We love you guys and can't wait to see you at the next event. This is Kevin Gantos, President of AGS, signing out. Take care and God bless.